Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Occupational Therapy for Professional Drivers, or OT for PD. My name is Jade Matthews Rosado, and here at OT for PD, we deal with MSD prevention for professional drivers with a basis in occupational therapy, hence the name. We do have a lot of new things to cover today, so let's go ahead and dive in. We've been talking about MSDs and some of the risk factors that contribute to them. Now remember, the goal is for you to have a solid understanding of the basics so that you can fight MSDs autonomously. And today we're going to go over a few additional risk factors and what you can do to help prevent them. Now, this is a quick reminder that if you like what you see, go ahead and like and subscribe to this channel, and don't forget about those notifications. Last time, we talked about the personal risk factors that contribute to MSD development, and those involve things like your posture and the need for proper rest and recovery. Now, you might remember that we check posture by looking at the spine to determine if the body is in proper alignment. And when the body is properly aligned, it's in a position that causes the least amount of strain on the body structures. In rest and recovery, we talked about micro breaks, or small frequent breaks that happen throughout the day. Micro breaks can help you feel far less fatigued, which can improve your overall safety while you're driving. Remember, some great things that you can do during micro breaks are getting your mind right or practicing mindfulness, and even stretching out those muscles to relieve muscle tension. I included some strengthening and stretching routines in our last video, so go ahead and check them out so you can practice on your own time. Today we're going to be talking about our next contributor to MSDs, which is environmental risk factors. And the environment can refer to the natural surroundings like the terrain or the plants, and even the built-up surrounding like the buildings that we see or the furniture that we sit on. And the physical environment can either support or hinder participation in meaningful occupations. Now, there are several factors in the physical environment that can contribute to the development of MSDs. And the three that we're going to talk about today are distractions, vehicle fit and cabin space, and whole body vibrations. If you can remember, we talked a bit about distractions the last time. And distractions and noise fall under environmental contributors because they impact the safety by adding to the risk for MSD development. Now, if you're a driver, you might be under mental stress when dealing with a long work schedule, or if you're a bus driver, dealing with unruly kids. This mental stress can get worse when you add things like heavy traffic or rude drivers, bad weather, or even difficult road conditions. And all of these combined can often lead to burnout and fatigue and prolonged stress, which affects the mood and safety awareness and ultimately leads to risky driving behaviors. Now, a 2019 study suggested that mental stress may lead to muscle tension or a tightening of muscle groups. This ultimately leads to pain, and then that pain leads to more tension, which produces more stress and then additional pain. And the cycle continues like that for as long as the triggers exist. So what that means for us is that when it comes to distractions and noise, if we minimize the triggers that lead to the mental stress or cope with the mental stress in a better way, we can effectively decrease or eliminate the rest of the cycle. So one way that you can cope with mental stress is by taking micro breaks. And we talked about this last time, so it comes right back around. Now, within your micro breaks, there are two things that you can practice today, and those things are deep belly breathing and also stretching. We briefly touched on stretching last time, so I won't go into that again, but I've put together a stretching routine and a home exercise program for you to have as your personal resource. And again, you'll find that in a link on the last video so that you can review on your own time. Okay, now with deep belly breathing, it's pretty self-explanatory. Instead of inhaling using the chest like most of us do, you'd use your gut to fill up on air and really poke out that belly like this guy up here. And here's a quick tutorial on how to practice deep belly breathing.
Hi everybody, my name is Lee, and today we're going to learn how to do belly breathing. So take your right hand and place it on your chest. Your left hand will go over your belly button. When you breathe in through your nose, your belly's going to go out. As you breathe out, your belly's going to go in. Just make sure the hand over your chest isn't moving. So let's practice. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. You can keep doing this 10 times for relaxation.
Easy enough, right? Now, with deep belly breathing, there's another way that I like to remember it. It's called smell the roses or smell the flowers and blow out the candle. And so, as you inhale with your belly, you imagine that you have a rose and that you're enjoying the scent through your nose. And as you exhale with your belly, imagine that you're gently blowing out a candle, but trying not to extinguish the flame. So you smell the roses and blow out the candle. Pretty simple, right? That's deep breathing. And it can be done with stretching during micro breaks to help you minimize mental stress and also decrease muscle tension. Have you ever borrowed a car from a friend or a family member? It can be pretty uncomfortable when you first get in, especially if the vehicle isn't adjusted to your particular needs. So I'm 5'8", and that's kind of tall, and I have relatively long legs compared to a lot of other people. And in my own car, I really like to raise my seat pretty high with my back straight up, and I slide all the way back so I can have ample leg room. I adjust my car in a way that's comfortable for me, and that's as it should be. But let's say my husband drives my car. He is 6'5" and about 9 inches taller than me, and he has a really difficult time getting inside of my car. Now, with my seat so high, he can't even get his head inside of the car. So he has to take time to drop my seat all the way down to the ground so that he can ride comfortably. So, what would happen if we were forced to drive each other's cars without any adjustments at all? I think that if I drove my husband's car, I'd have to become a giraffe because I'd need to overextend every single part of my body just to be able to drive. And now he, on the other hand, would probably look like Shaquille O'Neal here, maybe crushing his neck and hips and even his left kidney just to try and fit into the car. The point is, if a vehicle doesn't fit you, or if it's not adjusted to your personal physical needs, it's likely that you might end up putting unnecessary strain on your body trying to adjust yourself to the vehicle instead of adjusting the vehicle to you. Now, the limited space or poor vehicle fit contributes to bad posture as well as uncomfortable attempts at postural adjustment, which aggravates muscle tension. The last thing that we're going to cover today is whole body vibrations or WBVs. Now, these gentlemen may look like they're having fun on an amusement park ride, but I can definitely assure you that their bodies will probably be unhappy later, and I'll tell you why. Roadways are often littered with bumps and rough textures that cause a lot of vibrations, and believe it or not, they sometimes look like this. You might see this on country roads or dirt roads, or even see these in really rough areas in larger cities and areas with a lot of construction, like here in Orlando. If you know, you know. And with those lumps and bumps comes exposure to a major contributor of MSDs, known as whole body vibrations, or again, WBVs. Now, whole body vibration is a generic term used when vibrations of any frequency are transferred to the human body. Humans are exposed to these vibrations when they are in contact with a surface that is in what's called a mechanical vibrating state, which just means that there's constant shaking. Those vibrations can be as heavy as the crazy car ride that you saw before, or even come from one of those massaging chairs that you rest in while getting a pedicure. You might experience vibrations from playing loud music with heavy bass, or even feel it with your cell phone's vibration. In any case, you are exposed to vibrations because you are in contact with a vibrating surface. But what's the problem with vibrations? I'll tell you. Vibrations can cause both acute or sudden onset injury, or chronic or prolonged injury to many different body systems, including the musculoskeletal, or the circulatory, or even the nervous systems. Being exposed to whole body vibration every day creates a range of injuries or impairments. Chronic or prolonged exposure to different frequencies of whole body vibration, like the ones that the truck drivers and bus drivers experience, is recognized as a source of issues like arm numbness or visual impairment and MSDs, especially low back pain. So it should be clear that being exposed to WBVs is a major risk factor that puts the body under constant stress and leads to things like increased muscle tension, fatigue, and even muscular pain. Let's see how that works. Here's an illustration of the structures of the spine. In between each of the spinal bones or vertebrae, you'll see these white structures called intervertebral discs. These discs are spongy and filled with fluid, so they act like a natural cushion or a shock absorption system. Now, they're only meant to endure so much stress at one time. Just like the rest of the body, they need time for recovery to reshape and reform that support again. But if they're constantly being hit with heavy pressure, or if there is constant irritation to the discs, like you see in the other video, they can compress too much and become damaged. This causes back pain and damage to other structures around it. But there is good news. There's something simple that you can do today to at least help minimize the effects of WBVs on your body. If you're a professional driver, some of you may have shock absorption or suspension systems built into your driver's seats. If you do have that system in place, it's important to consistently adjust those systems to make sure that you can minimize the amount of vibration or shock that goes into the body. Now, the biggest problem with forgetting to adjust your seat systems is the risk of bottoming out. And what I mean by that is if your seat doesn't have the proper suspension, or if it's not adjusted properly, your body will take all of the vibration and the impact that was supposed to go into that system. So let's say if you hit a big pothole and your seat bottoms out, every bit of that force that was supposed to go into the suspension system now goes directly into the body. So your seats and suspension need to be adjusted for personal use to minimize whole body vibrations and to be sure that they don't bottom out. You may not think about it, but if you use another vehicle temporarily, or even if you change vehicles often, it's easy to forget to make that simple adjustment. Now, if you don't have a shock absorption system or a dampener in your vehicle, there are other options that you can consider to help minimize the amount of vibrations on your body. There are several companies that produce shock absorbing seat cushions for any and every vehicle, and these cushions come in all shapes and sizes. And even if you're an Amazon junkie like me, you might be able to find some good options online that can help minimize the effects of WBVs. Just do your research and please get the help that you need to keep yourself healthy. Okay, so today we talked about some environmental risk factors that can contribute to MSDs. We talked about distractions and how to minimize tension and regain focus using stretching and deep belly breathing. We also talked about making sure your vehicle fits you properly by making adjustments to your personal needs. And finally, we discussed whole body vibrations, or WBVs, and the impact on your body, no pun intended, as well as a couple of simple things that you might do to help minimize the damage on your body. Now it's time to test your knowledge. Again, navigate to kahoot.it and type in the code that you see here below, the game pin. This is a challenge to see how much you've remembered from our time together. So good luck.
And may the odds be ever in your favor.
That's all for today. If you'd like to see more added to this channel or have any suggestions on new content that I could do, go ahead and email me at the address below or simply leave a comment down below. And don't forget about those notifications. We'll see you again next time. Bye.